forever living in the dark. I feel so alive, still remembering what I want, but it ends with you. Candlelight has gone out. Some will win and some will lose. Nothing much else to say. Thought I was searching for something. Door has closed, not a sound. Take a look as I am now. Still I smile but don't speak. Will you please slow down? Slow down. Slow down. Unreal intertwined, and you're not listening. It is your choice to make a little mockery, it won't do. Further down the line, still surrendering, trying harder to forgive you. Candlelight has gone out. Some will win and some will lose. Nothing much else to say. Thought I was searching for something. Door has closed, not a sound. Take a look as I am now. Still I smile but don't speak. Will you please slow down? Slow down. Candlelight has gone out. Some will win and some will lose. Nothing much else to say. Thought I was searching for something. Door is closed, not a sound. Take a look as I am now. Still I smile but don't speak. Will you please slow down? Slow down. Slow down. Slow down.
Seeing monsters out your window. No, you can't sleep, you pretend though. You don't have to play the hero. 'Cause I got you like you got me. When the earth shakes, when the bombs scream, until our last breath, every heartbeat. You know I'll come running. You go to war, then I'm going with you. Pick up my sword, yeah, there's nothing I won't do. When you found
Took a swing at a wrecking ball and I prayed for my downfall, and I found a way to reconcile, 'cause in my heart it's not worthwhile. It's a bloody battlefield where some go down, others heal. In the end it's all the same. All you can do is play the game. Oh, do we say goodbye? Refuse to question why. I'm sad to say I'm sorry, so lie. Pretend that you're okay. Swear that you will stay. Keep trying for one day. I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. There's nothing left for me to hide. Don't wanna live a lie. Too many lows, too many highs. Too many things to criticize. And so I leave it all behind. Don't wanna live a lie. Life kept spitting at my feet and forced me down a dead-end street, when all I had went up in flames, burning only dark remains. I cover up every part of my skin, oh, 'cause I don't like the person within. Oh, I know I'm the one to blame. All I can do is take the shame. Oh, do we say goodbye? Refuse to question why. I'm too sad to say I'm sorry, so lie and pretend that you're okay. Swear that you will stay. Keep trying for one day. Whoa, I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. There's nothing left for me to hide.
Man, no copyright sounds. Bringing some bangers today in the intro music. I'm liking it. I don't know about you guys. What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. Good evening. How's everybody doing today on this Thursday? We've got some new stuff going on today. Some things I haven't ever tried before. So might be kind of a disaster. Already I can see that my video is not fitting the frame very well. That's a little better. Okay. So I've got like camera, newish camera, which I've used before. You've seen me use before. And I've got, setup is tweaked. So something's gonna maybe not work right. So apologies in advance for that. And that's, let me, swap the background music over. So today we've got something really cool coming up here. We have got a special guest. I've been kind of wanting to do a guest on the stream for a while now, to have a conversation, you know, about astronomy or telescope building or whatever. And we've got something very cool. Our friend Michael Jackson from the LA Astronomical Society is here, and he is the editor of the bulletin, the newsletter bulletin. We'll get that clarified when he joins us here in a minute. Thank you, Taka. Yeah, you like the new camera setup? Yeah, this is it's definitely a little bit more of a thing to use than the webcam, but it's definitely better quality. And I've changed. I was using a really wide angle lens, and now I've got the equivalent of a 50 millimeter lens. And so what that means is I've got, you know, more limited room. I kind of have to sit more still to be in the camera there. And then the mic position is kind of a thing too. But anyways, so we're going to talk to Michael in a bit here. But before we do that, we want to give some time for people to come in here and update you guys on some projects and other things that are going on. So check This is the camera rotator. We'll look at that in a second. But what I want to show is, congratulations to our friend Shifty in the Discord. Shifty just had first light on his DBS 114, the 3D printed telescope that we designed on stream that I've been using. He had first light on it, I guess, last night. And so there's a picture of the telescope setup, and then his first light image of Bode's Galaxy and Cigar Galaxy M81, M82. Definitely some work to do still. We can see he's just a screenshot of his Nina page, so we can't really pixel peep on the image, but there's definitely some star trailing. Looks like probably a combination of star trailing and collimation issues, and which is to be expected. You know, first time building a telescope like this and getting things set up and working, you're gonna have maybe some issues. But there is definitely, we can see Bode's and Cigar Galaxy in there. Very cool, and very excited to see. Very exciting and very cool to see people building this telescope and imaging with it, and sharing the results in the Discord. So look forward to seeing more from our friend Shifty on that. So check out the Discord if you're not in the Discord, guys. On YouTube, it's pinned comment up above. On Twitch, you can get there if you type the command !Discord. It will chatbot that in there for you. So, let's see. I'm still kind of experimenting with the audio levels. Oh yeah, the other thing that's kind of different for me is I'm wearing like half headphones today. And I think that's going to be necessary when we talk to Michael, so we don't have like feedback from the voice coming through. But I do like this half headphone thing, because if I do this, then my voice is muffled. It's kind of hard for me to hear myself. So I do this kind of awkward one headphone thing. You know, it works. Yeah, that's why I said there's new stuff to me, and then I got to monitor the audio levels. Also, we're 3D printing at the same time. So let's take a look at what we're 3D printing. Let's see. We're working on the camera rotator. We got this thing pretty much designed yesterday on the stream. We did pretty much everything on the stream to get this to like a version, you know, 1-ish, you know, beta version 1. To where I think it's will be functional enough to print and assemble and give it a try. So if you weren't here yesterday, this is the camera rotator. I've added a few small details off stream, and I've got 1 part printed and 2 parts on the printer right now. So if you weren't here yesterday, we're using a 3D printed herringbone gear, because I love my herringbone gears on the inside of there. I think that looks pretty cool. And then I think the biggest kind of maybe innovative thing with this is we're using a large ball bearing. The silver thing in there is an off-the-shelf ball bearing. And the purpose of using a bearing in there is, well, for the rotational motion, but also to give us the rigidity and stiffness that we'll need, so we don't have camera flexing and image tilt. So hopefully, you know, that you might get from plastic parts. So hopefully this will be rigid enough. That's kind of the unknown. It's a known unknown. Like, we know this could be an issue, but it's unknown as to how much of an issue it's going to be. So an experiment in here, and then another known unknown is this little baby stepper motor. The NEMA 8, the absolutely adorable little NEMA 8 stepper motor. Same stepper motor I used in my electronic focuser. Is that going to have enough torque to drive this? Now, we've got a fairly large gear ratio. So, is that enough? It's a 5-to-1 ratio. Is that going to be enough? Well, since this is supported with a bearing, it should rotate pretty smoothly. We'll see. We'll find out. So the part that I printed was the gear, the drive gear, this yellow gear here. So let me see if I can get that. Whoops, that was the wrong camera. That one. Let me see if I can get that on the camera. And now I'm going to adjust the focus, which is... So the cool thing about this is it's manual focus, so I can adjust the focus. The not cool thing is that I have to adjust the focus. There it is. Look at this cute little gear. This is printed pretty nicely. This is printed in the 3DX Tech Easy PC, Easy Polycarbonate. I think it'll function just fine. Here's another gear. This is printed in glass fiber ABS. The same module gear, so I can just kind of test the gear motion there. And they mesh nicely and roll nicely together. I like doing these 3D printed gears. They're a lot of fun. Now, the tricky thing about focusing this lens, it's manual focus, but the distance that I want to sit from the lens is just out of reach. So I have to get closer. So if I focus myself there, now when I sit back, I'm going to be not perfectly in focus. So I have to kind of just guess at getting the focus a little bit farther back. I mean, that's going to be good, right? It doesn't need to be like perfect focus for the stream because it's smaller resolution anyways, right? So, okay, so let's take a look at where we're at with the prints. I've printed the small gear. I've got the motor mount on the V0.2 printing right now. Get you the webcam view there. So that guy is printing. This should be done pretty soon. This is a quick print, 25 minutes on that, left on that print. And then on the big printer, we're printing the housing, the forward housing. And I'm printing this in carbon fiber ABS, which may be stiff and strong enough. I think with this part, because we really want to be stiff. We don't want any camera flexing going on. I may reprint this in the carbon fiber polycarbonate, which is the stiffest and strongest material that I can print practically on my printers. So I may reprint it. We'll see how it comes out. But this material is much cheaper, so we'll do prototyping with this material, right? How much time we got left on there? Another hour and a half for that to finish up. So kind of a longer print. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. That's the update. I did not put the files for this online like I said I was going to do. So my bad. Maybe I'll get to that. I had to rush out yesterday, so I didn't have time to do that. So maybe I'll get to that tomorrow or tonight. We'll see. My bearing, I ordered the bearing, and that is due to arrive tomorrow via Amazon. So unfortunately, that was a 2-day and not a 1-day shipping thing. So we'll have to wait 2 whole days. How terrible. And yeah, so that's where we're at. So kind of I was delaying a little bit before we bring on our special guest for more people to show up in the stream. But I think it's about time. I think we should bring Michael in. I got you filled in on what we're doing with the project. So let's bring Michael in here. Let's see if we can figure this out. We figured it out ahead on the stream. Okay, there he is. So now I'm unmuted. So let's see, Michael, do we got you here?
I am, in fact.
He is. All right, cool. Now the tricky thing is, well, I think I'll probably just pause. Usually I have like the background music going, but I think I'll just pause that because that's probably going to be too loud on the mix. I don't know if we can. Maybe that's not too bad. Let me know, you guys, on if the background music is too much. I'm looking at the levels now. I think it's pretty chill. So we'll go with it for now. But anyways, so what's up, Michael? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So Michael is the editor of the, we call it
the Los Angeles Astronomical Society newsletter called The Bulletin.
Okay, it's called. I was gonna say, is it the Bulletin or is it the newsletter?
It's the Bulletin. is the title of the newsletter.
Right. Yeah. The bulletin is the title, not to be confused. And I have let me we can flash an example of that on the stream real quick for you guys. The bulletin, very professional, very nice looking newsletter called the Bulletin. You guys couldn't come up with a fun like astronomy pun name for the Bulletin, I guess, huh?
The Bulletin, as far as I know, has been going for a really long time. The club itself has been it's been around for 98, 99 years.
99 years.
Next year is the centennial anniversary of the club, and I believe that some of the bulletin was printed out because originally in 1930 something, I should know this. It's been 99 years, but that's not my problem. Anyway, no, they've been doing it on typewriters and for forever. So
yeah,
it just happens to be the bulletin. I don't think that they were necessarily as pun based
back then.
98 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, puns are. They just came out with puns in like the 80s, I think, or something like that.
It's
so
a Reagan
like a new
thing.
Yeah.
It brought down the Soviet Union, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So how long have you been with the club and involved with doing the bulletin?
I have only been with the club for about 3 years, or 4 years. It's been a little bit. I got into astronomy during COVID, like so many others, because I had to do something, and went from a small telescope to an overly too large of a telescope in a very short amount of time, and I needed some help in figuring out how to deal with an 11-inch 2800 millimeter or 2800 millimeter
yeah, it's probably like the motorsports equivalent of like your first car is a Ferrari or something. Yeah, you got way too much, or like a motorcycle that's way too big for you.
Yes, exactly. I went from a Chevette to a Ferrari.
Yeah.
So now I'm back down to a economical 100 mil.
Yeah, then you realize.
Accord.
Yeah, it's like this thing is way too difficult to operate. It's awesome, but it's like, yeah, the guiding requirements and the mount requirements and lifting it and setting it up. I don't know how much that 11-inch weighs, but
it was about 40 pounds, 35, 40 pounds.
Is it that much?
With like the stuff, with the guide scope. And
yeah. Because I know like the 14-inch is like 50 pounds or something, isn't it?
I never got that large.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it definitely is. It looks like a handful to move around. But cool, yeah. So
it was, and I got into astronomy as opposed to remote control airplanes because I couldn't crash a telescope.
Well, you can crash a telescope.
I almost did. I forgot to put the counterweights on.
Oh, and yeah.
Thankfully, it went into me and not away from me.
No, I've never made any mistakes like that before. We were doing a live stream, and I've been reworking the telescope mount that I designed and built, and I changed some parts to make it more rigid, more stiff, because I noticed the flexing. It's in one of my videos, and we're live streaming, and I slew, and like it was a warm night, so I had my balcony door open. And actually, I think maybe I didn't even have it. It might have not even been open. But so I just heard this like plastic creaking, really awful sound. And I'm like, was that like, there's no way that was like, no, that must have been the neighbors doing something. And no, it was the mount crashing into itself. And the creaking plastic sound was plastic breaking. Fortunately, it was just this is not it, but it was a plastic thumb screw that I have around to make it easier to, so you don't have to make it a toolless fastener. So it just totally shattered the plastic thumb screw, but didn't damage anything else. So fortunately, and I swore like I slewed the thing around, before taking it outside to make sure it was clear. But I don't know. I guess I wasn't as thorough as I thought I was. But so that was the only like crash that I've had in recent memory. But yeah. So you got into astronomy over COVID, and you decided to join the Los Angeles Astronomical Society.
Yeah, I went down. They have a weekly meeting down at Garvey Ranch Observatory in Monterey Park. It's a nice little dome on the second story of a kind of a park recreational building, Parks and Rec building, and they've got a big, I think it's an 8-inch telescope, about 14, 16 feet long. Or
I think
like.
I think he told me it was a 12-inch.
Okay.
Am I wrong about that? I
don't know.
It's a big refractor. So yeah, so a 12-inch refractor is significantly larger than a 12-inch reflector in length. So it's a big refractor. I got some images up here I'm gonna show you guys. So yeah, there's this nice like clubhouse, and they got the telescope dome. And I think they just recently rebuilt the dome. Oh, there's a picture of the telescope on the inside.
They replaced the dome. I want to say it was a year or two ago.
Okay, yeah.
And they were. I don't know. I don't know exactly. I'm not the club historian. I'm just doing the.
Got it. Yeah. So there's like a small shop in there where they, I guess they can work on stuff.
Yes.
And here's pictures of. I guess that's that's maybe the new dome or something.
It used to be metal, I believe, or it used to be wood. Now it's metal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was there just kind of briefly for a little bit one time, and I noticed that when it's slewing, it has a very satisfying noise when it slews. Like it sounds like it's really moving with purpose.
I can't. Or the dome.
The dome, because the dome rotates. Because it's the dome has to rotate, right? It's on a track. So, it was it wasn't. I guess it was loud, but it wasn't like obnoxiously loud. But it was like it moved with purpose. It was like, yeah, we're moving, Yeah. So, and then there's this big refractor on there that they swing around, and I got to look through it. There wasn't the time of year. There wasn't much interesting to look at. It just a star cluster, really. So that was so that's cool. So that's the Gravy Ranch Park in Garvey, sorry, and that's in Monterey Park, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, the
right
name of
off
the city.
of New on Orange. The exit off of the 10 is New Avenue.
Okay, yeah.
But it's on the next street over, which is Orange.
Okay, I think I went there from the 60s, so I came from the south.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, either way. Hello, EA from Goodland, Kansas. How are you? What's going on, EA? We're chatting astronomy here with Michael Jackson, who's the editor of the newsletter for the LA Astronomical Society called The Bulletin.
That's correct.
Nailed it.
Good
Yeah.
time to chat.
So give us like a little spiel on the LA Astronomical Society. So it's been a astronomy club for over 100 years, almost 100 years.
It will be 100 years next year.
Okay, wow.
What it is that it started out 100 years ago as a telescope building club.
Yeah.
Where there's there was kind of a craze at that time to build telescopes. Mount Wilson was a big thing at that time.
So this is 1926, because next year is 2026, right? What's up, Mithridates Astro? How you doing, brother?
26, yes, 26.
Yeah. So yeah, the 100-inch just went operational in 1917, I think. Is that right?
It sounds about right.
I was up there a couple weeks ago, so I was reading the plat. So it's a little bit fresh in my mind. I certainly could be wrong, but
my docent friend at Wilson's going to absolutely kill me when he sees this.
Oh, because you don't know off the top of your head the exact dates. Yeah, I believe it was the 100-inch live 1917, but the 60-inch was up there since the 1900s, like 1905 or I think something like that is what I remember reading. But so yeah, so the club being formed in 1926, right around the time that probably the height of activity at the Mount Wilson Observatory.
Yeah, so there've been and what they do is that they would get together at the public library downtown. They got another location a couple years later. I don't know exactly when they moved into Garvey, but they had they had use of a telescope over at USC or UCLA, I forget which now. And then they also have a dark sky site out in Lockwood Valley, up at the top near Mount Fraser.
Yeah, Lockwood Valley is like, it's kind of like down the mountain from Mount Pinos, which is where a few of us go for. It's kind of the local new moon site, and I suppose that Lockwood Valley is probably about the same darkness. I think that the main advantage to Mount Pinos is that it's just higher elevation. Yeah. So, but I haven't been to Lockwood Valley, but I know that's where the clubs.
It's quite nice. I mean, there's still a little bit of light from Bakersfield. Yeah. And I think there's even more light from Bakersfield than there is from Los Angeles, but you do get a little bit. It's not Border 1 or anything like that. Yeah. But it's still a whole lot better. Going up there, you can see the Milky Way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's the best thing is that it's like not very far. It's the closest for SoCal. The closest dark sky site for LA area is it's really
just shy of an hour and maybe just shy of 2 hours.
Yeah. The really good sites you got to go like 3 to 5 hours away. Yeah. So if it's just one quick night, it's like, oh look, the weather's going to be good tonight. You can just go out there.
Yeah. And some of us, you have to be a club member to go to the actual site, except on certain family nights and nights. But some of us, when we don't have access and when we just get into it, we just go to the Fraser Mountain parking lot.
Oh, okay.
Which is it's nice because it's got a bathroom and it's on asphalt. So
it's not trucking through the dirt and stuff.
Yeah. But the dark side is really quite nice. They've got a whole mess of pads that you can set up power on some of them. Yeah. And then they also have a nice telescope out there that they can.
Okay. Yeah. Right on. So how many members does the club have?
I don't know, but again, I'm not the secretary.
Just like dozens, hundreds, thousands.
No, there's. I think there's more than 1,000.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how many active.
Sure.
But there are quite a few. There's far more than I even know about personally.
Yeah.
But as a fully functioning club since the 30s, they've got a board and a treasurer and a secretary and the whole kit and caboodle.
Right. So what about some of the other? I know that they do other like public events, like public star party things. So what kind of stuff? Is that about? Like if we want to go check things out.
So once a month, the second Saturday after the new moon, which is in this case this coming Saturday, there's a star party, public star party that's held on the lawn of the Griffith Park Observatory. You get down.
Oh, wait, hold on. Are we having a cat? Are we have a cat fight here?
We're having a cat off.
Oh my gosh! Wait, they look very similar.
They're very similar.
Hold on. Look at. Cat versus cat here.
So no buttholes on the camera. No buttholes on the camera.
That's fair. That's actually I'm pretty sure that's in the Twitch
that's
user agreement too. We'll
What
get
type of
demonetized
dog
for
is this?
cat butts on the camera, which as you should. Yeah. Yeah.
Every second Tuesday or second Saturday after a new moon, which is in this case this coming Saturday on the Griffith Park Observatory lawn, probably, I don't know, 20 to 30 to 40 people bring out their telescopes and they share.
Yeah.
They share with the public, and people come up, and it is fantastic.
It draws a huge crowd.
A huge crowd.
Is it always a huge crowd? Like, because I see these pictures. I'm sharing some pictures on the screen now. And, like, I mean, they look like, I mean, it looks like a big,
yeah,
generally.
there can be upwards of 500 to 1,000 people over the course of the night.
Yeah.
And what's so neat about it is that a lot of them are just there. They're not necessarily, well, I won't say that. Since it's a big tourist spot,
yes,
there's lots of people that come up that didn't know that it was going to happen.
Yeah. They're just there they're just seeing the LA sights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they end up staying out and coming.
And they accidentally get science in their face.
Exactly. And it's a lot of fun. The best is when, the kids come up and they're looking through a telescope for the very first time in their life. Yeah. And that they sit there and they see Jupiter or the craters on the moon or Mars or Uranus or any of the things that they're looking at. They go, oh wow, this is so cool. And it's so gratifying to sit there and say that maybe this has, given some sort of, very young inspiration to. Oh,
you plant the seed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so moving from there, mom comes up and looks through it. Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. And dad's just kind of sitting back, whatever, and starts to walk off. And I'm all, hey, Dad, you have to come back and take a look. You can't walk up to a telescope
He's
and
like,
look.
All right. And then he looks to it, and then he has the same response as the kid.
It's better. It's because he'll look through.
Yeah.
He'll look through, and he's like, "Oh my God! This is what?"
Yeah, blown away.
The expletives that come out of his mouth are just the best.
Yeah, I've found that, like, in the limited amount of sort of outreach that I've done in that regard, to be, I mean, almost as probably just, if not more rewarding than visual astronomy, myself. It's one of the things I like about Mount Pinos in the summertime. Can be kind of, especially on the weekends, can be kind of crazy. There's a lot of people up there. Mm-hmm. So it's not really good for, trying to spot the most faint, distant, fuzzy galaxies that only enthusiasts would really be interested in doing.
Sure.
But being able to share views with people who had never seen things before, it's like, yeah, come on, look through the telescopes. And I had a group of people looking at Saturn for the first time through my telescope up there, last year, and and it was really great. So I enjoy that a lot. And the Griffith Observatory, I actually just went there for the first time like a year and a half ago myself, and I guess I didn't really know what to expect. And because it's such an LA icon, LA landmark, in movies and TV shows and stuff, it's either in the background or it's the setting. I guess I kind of expected it to be kind of a tourist trap kind of thing, and it's not that at all. It's an observatory and a science museum. Like, it's not like there's like LA celebrity stuff like Hollywood Boulevard, star maps or whatever, all this nonsense. It's literally science, and it was packed. Like, there were so many people there,
and there's real scientists on staff that are actually doing real science work.
So it's a great spot, and so I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there this weekend for the star party. I think the weather is looking decent enough,
I think
so I'm going to go. My girlfriend and I are going to go there. So we'll get there in the evening, and check out the. And then the planetarium presentation show. Or at least whatever it was a year and a half ago, was like really good. Like it was like, I was surprised. I expected it to be kind of cheesy or kind of, I don't want to say lame, but like dated. I expected it to be, it didn't feel like that at all. It was like really well done, and there's like a live presenter, and she was like really enthusiastic and really, it was like top notch.
And when they bring out that big star projector thing,
Yeah.
that is so cool as an engineering thing.
Yeah. And today, and like by today's standards, to have like, you know, Avengers Infinity War and 4K IMAX screens and sound and roller coaster stuff, to think like a planetarium presentation could still be
Engrossing.
you know, interesting. Like it really was. Like I'm not just saying that because I'm a science nerd. You could show me, you know, an Excel graph of, you know, black hole rotation speeds or something, and I would be excited, right? But like this was like really cool. So so I'll have to check the show times on that, make sure we can go see that, see what's going on there again.
So the and just so you know, the star party on at Griffith, those go from 2:00 till 10-ish, 9:30.
Yeah. I think 9:45 was the last I saw. But
that's the posted time.
Yeah.
But they do, you know, when I'm out there, I won't be this Saturday, unfortunately, but when I'm out there, there are usually 4 or 5 of us with solar telescopes.
Yeah, right.
To be able to
So
look at the sun.
yeah, we can look at the sun. Yeah, during the daytime.
That's a favorite target of mine. So
yeah, one of our friends in the local sort of, like I was saying, the club that I'm in, one of the guys has a solar telescope, so it's good to it's fun to check that out during the day, you know, and when you're out in the desert and there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
So, so that sounds cool.
So there's Griffith Park Observatory that they do the star parties that once a month.
Yep.
And then also the club has outreach on Thursday night, every Thursday night at
Silver Lake.
Sunset Triangle Plaza in Silver Lake.
Sunset. There's an Instagram account just for it. I think it's called Star Party Silver Lake.
That's correct. Thank you for.
Silver.
Yeah, and it's not too far off of. Santa Monica. It's just south of Santa Monica on Sunset Boulevard. So in that Silver Lake area.
Yeah, Star Party. Yeah, Star Party Silver Lake. If you're on Instagram. I see these posts, and this looks like it draws a really big crowd too.
Yeah, and what it was is that it started out as a bunch of guys, you know, 2 or 3 guys just kind of hanging out, and they've been doing it for a better part of a year now, if not more. And it has grown and grown and grown to the point where one of the fellas they take, not sponsorships, but they're working with the businesses in this little area, and they are getting sponsored, and we had a crowd easily of 500 people.
Wow, that's crazy.
You know, because there was music that came out. The LA Times came out and did interviews with a bunch of the people.
Wow.
To the telescope operators and you know, and what we are. But yeah, it was so much fun because they had a couple of harps that came out and played music.
I've seen a harpist. Yeah. Just like, yeah.
And it's so cool. And the LA Times article was such that it was like they quoted somebody saying that this is better date night than going to a bar or a club or something like that. Which might be a little hyperbolic, but
well, for the type of person that I would want to date,
sure,
it would be. So, yeah. So
yeah, it was fantastic, and I think there's going to be music tonight, so I'll be down there.
Cool.
Doing that tonight. So
right on. Yeah.
And then also on Wednesday nights, at the clubhouse down in Garvey Ranch, every Wednesday night, people come out. As a result of the kind of COVID break being really finished up, they were doing telescope making all the way up until the moment that COVID kind of hit. and they shut it down. So just now starting to get back into telescope making.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
So
that's great.
They're learning how to go and grind mirrors, and they're
Yeah. This is at the Garvey Park.
that's at the Garvey
Right,
Park
yeah.
Observatory.
Right, yeah.
So in the workshop that you
Yeah, right.
mentioning.
Right.
Yeah, so they're getting to they're starting to grind down mirrors, and they'll build their own telescopes with the 4-foot lengths of solid tube, the concrete flooring. Tube.
The paper, the cardboard tubes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're cardboard, but
I think they call it paper tubes.
I think that's
Yeah, it's just like it's packed multiple layers of compressed paper, so it's not like a single sheet of floppy paper. It's
right.
It's like a spiral. It's like a heavy duty toilet paper roll. Imagine a toilet paper roll, but like a quarter-inch thick. Normally you would use that for casting concrete pillars to build a parking garage or something, but it turns out that makes a pretty decent tube for a telescope. And a bit more affordable than like carbon fiber tubes or something. Well,
that's one of the reasons that we're talking today.
Yeah.
Is because I want to talk to you, because looking into or hearing about this mirror making thing, the program that the club is doing.
Yeah.
I had been watching some of your videos and just as a amateur 3D person myself, I thought it would be interesting to talk with you about what your journey was with regards to why you got into telescopes and 3D printing and designing.
Excellent segue, by the way. That was like so smooth. Yeah.
I think you teed it up.
I'll take the credit wherever I can. But yeah, I mean, we can see we've got a 3D printer in the background, and we've got lights on. Are you printing something currently, or is it just idling?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I've been printing accessories for my telescope.
Okay. And you've got a good collection of empty spools up there.
I do.
That's nice. Yeah.
What I've been doing is that I've been making like a top to put on top of my telescope.
A hat. Yeah.
So that way I can hold, in this case with the green thing, my laser pointer.
Yep.
And then on the sides I've got slots, so that way I can put my computer.
There you go. Yeah.
Pieces.
Looks cool. Yeah, and that looks is that printed? It looks like PETG. Is that PETG?
It is, in fact.
I can tell even on the compressed webcam. I can tell the glossy PETG look when I see it.
It's got a bit of a sheen.
Yeah.
But I also do accessories for outreach, so that way I can mount this.
Okay.
Printed a collar. So that way I can slot this in on the leg of my. On the leg of my.
Okay, yeah, look at that. That's cool. Yeah.
So that way I can get a little call to action.
Yeah.
And then I, come on over, whatever. And then I also have a thing for my iPad, so that way I can run a little keynote presentation.
Okay.
Give facts about what it is that we're looking at.
Yeah, that's great.
Jupiter, Jupiter's a god of this. So.
Yeah.
How many Earths can you fit in the red eye, or the Great Red Spot?
Right.
So, but yeah, so my stuff is not nearly as complex and engineered as yours, but it still has been an inspiration to me.
It doesn't need to be engineeringly complex in order to be useful.
Right.
Or have value. So. Yeah.
So it's somewhat of an aesthetic thing. Somewhat of like everybody, I'm building little cup holders and boxes and things, and useful little screw hole. Tools for holding Allen wrenches and shit like that.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, so I transitioned well, but now I'm stalling out.
I think now I threw you off. Yeah, I threw you off there. Yeah.
Yeah, so since this is my part of the I get to go and ask you questions.
Yeah. Okay. That's where we've transitioned to now. He is the interviewer, and I am the interviewee. So.
Okay. So my first thing is what is your educational background? I don't know that I've seen that on your video.
I have a degree in aerospace engineering.
Okay.
From Cal Poly Pomona, and but I never went into the aerospace industry. And after college, I went into aerospace engineering because in high school I was super into building remote control airplanes.
Okay.
So it was like, I'm building airplanes, I should go to school for learning how to build airplanes. And I just never found my way into that industry. And interestingly, I was, at the time, I knew nothing about astronomy, and I didn't really, I knew nothing about astronomy. And like looking back on it, there was no, an astronomy class was not part of the curriculum. And looking back on that, and you think about all the other general ed classes and other classes we had to take, and I mean, you know, there's a place for general ed classes and literature classes and stuff like that. That's part of getting college education. You know, that's important. But to not have an astronomy class, a basic astronomy 101 class in an aerospace engineering program, aerospace. Yeah, thank you, Taka. It used to be aeronautical engineering, and then when space became a thing in the 60s, and you know, NASA was a thing, and those programs turned to aerospace, and that makes sense. But why was there no astronomy program? Like, why are we not learning about, you know, stars and you know, I'm kind of, I'll probably forever be frustrated with that. I mean, fortunately, there's plenty of, you know, knowledge of this available on the internet these days, but But yeah, you know, had I had an astronomy program in college, a proper, you know, astronomy, I would have loved to have a college level education of the actual mathematics and things like that. I wouldn't remember them or, you know, use those, you know, today, but at least I can, same thing with my engineering background. It's like, you know, I never do differential equations, but I know what they are. Sure. And I can appreciate them. So, yeah, anyways. So yeah, my education background is aerospace engineering.
Gotcha. And what are you doing your design work as your full-time now, or what did you do before as a job?
So I've been through a couple of different jobs. I'm actually between jobs right now, so that's why I have more time to work on telescope designs and do streaming and stuff like this. Mm-hmm. But I've worked on after college. Right after college, I actually ended up founding my own company. Manufacturing filmmaking accessories, designing and manufacturing filmmaking accessories for cameras. Kind of fell into that, and that went for a little while. Had some good years, had some bad years, and got out of that. And then I went to work for Will's Wing, which is a hang glider manufacturer, building hang gliders. And then they went out of business, and then went to go work for a company building inverters and designing and building inverters and motors for electric cars. And that was like a startup, and then they ran out of money. And then I went to go work for this other company. I don't really want to talk about them. And I'm not working for them anymore. So I've done a lot of various things. So, but I've always been involved in CAD design and manufacturing. So when it comes to like designing and building telescopes, it's very much, I don't make money doing it, but it's, you know, I apply the knowledge and skills that I've learned from manufacturing and design and, you know, in that.
Okay. Well, that's a whole thing. You know, that's a life, man.
Yeah.
No shame there. So you've been designing things, like you said, in CAD. When did that turn into 3D printing?
So I actually got a 3D printer back when I owned my own company. This was like 2010, 2011. And this was before consumer level FDM 3D printing was really taking off. And I got screwed. I kind of got robbed. I bought a resin 3D printer from a company called 3D Systems, I think is the name of the company. It was a total lemon, the biggest piece of junk machine. Cost me 10 grand for the machine and the wash station. This was the early days of resin printing, and this is supposed to be from like a professional 3D printer. It was garbage, and it turned me off from 3D printing, so I just kind of ignored 3D printing. So I missed out on like the early days of like FDM 3D printing being actually useful.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until 2015 or so that a friend of mine was like, look, I 3D printed this part. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be awful. And I saw it, and I'm like, oh, wow, there's like actual geometry and like sharp edges, and it's not warped. And like, this looks like it's actually useful. and then he actually gave me a CR10, a Creality CR10, which was at the time was like the go-to like cheap budget. This was before the Ender printers were a thing that took off. And I printed the shit out of that CR10. Like I printed so much stuff on that printer before finally upgrading to another printer. So yeah, it was around then.
And were you always kind of doing, where had you started your telescope work at that point, or is that I didn't start designing and building telescopes until like 2 years ago. So this was like 10, 12 years ago now. Yeah, it was really, what got me into building telescopes was the Hadley telescope. Are you familiar with the Hadley telescope? I am.
Yeah, so I don't know, I was browsing the 3D printing sites or whatever, and I saw the Hadley telescope, and it's like, wow, I should build a Hadley telescope. And I think when we spoke before, I mentioned this, that like I moved around and I sold my astronomy gear because I wasn't doing astronomy, and I ended up in this apartment, and I have a balcony, and it just so turns out that I have a bit of view of the night sky. And one night I looked outside and I saw a bright light in the sky, and I'm like, that's Jupiter. I'm like, oh, I can see Jupiter from here. I should get a telescope. I should get a telescope again. But then I remembered that Hadley telescope. I'm like, oh, I'll build one. And the Hadley telescope, if you guys don't know, is an amazing. It's like, it's what I tell people, if you're interested in astronomy and building telescopes, like if the Venn diagram of these two niches cross over, that's the project to start with. It's affordable. It's a great supported project. There's an instruction manual. There's Discord server, great community around it. Lots of people built them. I didn't really like some of the design choices, so I sort of tweaked it and made it my own. So, yeah, I have to do everything my way because I'm an engineer, and engineers always know what's best. So, yeah, so I kind of tweaked it and did it my way. But that was sort of my reintroduction into astronomy and into building telescopes. And then from there, just like with anything with astronomy, once you get one telescope, then you have to get a bigger one, and then you have to get a bigger one, and then you have to get another one, and you just fall into the rabbit hole. And so it was the same thing with building telescopes too. So.
Okay. So you built the Hadley. How long did that take, roughly?
To build it?
Yeah, I mean, did you just print it, or did you from the designs, or it seems like you've made modifications, obviously.
Yeah.
To it over the years.
I don't. I mean, maybe it took me a week. I don't, because I had to order the parts and stuff. But like, didn't take very long.
Okay.
I didn't make that many significant mods to it, so yeah.
Oh,
it was mainly following their design. Yeah, so
printing that led into, as you say, down the rabbit hole. What was the next one, or what would be the first big one that you started to design?
So my first original design was the 6-inch telescope. And let me bring, for those on the stream, let me load that up so I can show that on the stream here. Just one minute here, guys. So yeah, the 6-inch telescope, and this CAD is, I'm pretty sure it's broken, and it's not going to work very well, but I'll bring it up anyways. What's up, John Klopp? And what's up, TMKDK? Hello to you guys. How are you doing this afternoon? First time chatter, TMKDK. What's up? So we're chatting with our friend Michael Jackson, who's the editor of the LA Astronomical Society's newsletter called The Bulletin. And what's up, Spaceca?
Perfect.
Space is watching streams at work. Shh, don't tell anybody. I won't tell anyways. That's Michael. So he asked me if you guys are just joining the second telescope that I built. The first one that was my original design was this 6-inch telescope. And this is a totally, it's probably not, it's, it's totally kind of a bizarre design and very unique, a single tube design. And the reason I designed this is I had just completed a project with a buddy of mine to build a rack for his car to transport a hang glider on the roof. And he wanted to do this rack with carbon fiber tubes because it would look cool. And so we had the minimum order quantity for these tubes was 8. We needed 7 for the project, so we had 1 left over. And I told him, I'll work on this project for you, but I get to keep that last carbon tube, this beautiful meter-long, 52 millimeter diameter carbon fiber tube, because it's like I've got to do a project with that. And so I made it into a telescope. So it's a Newtonian reflector, just like all the telescopes that I built. But it's unique in that it uses a single carbon tube for the structure. So I don't know if you've seen that one or not, Michael, but it's on my, I have a video about that, and it's on my printables page. So that was the first one that I designed.
It's a great
myself.
video as well. So
it was a fun one. Yeah.
Or maybe a couple of them. I don't know. Your content has been, from a nerd perspective, utterly fascinating to me. So
that's like the highest level of praise. These are the only if a nerd's approve, then that's great. So yeah.
So you went from this 6-inch to the astrograph version of it?
Then I built the 12.5-inch.
Oh,
because
that's
the
big
Dob,
Newtonian.
the 12.5-inch Dobsonian. Yeah, that was, we built the 6-inch, and then it's like, okay, that sort of ignited my passion for visual astronomy, which my previous tour of duty in astronomy years ago was back in like 2014 was astrophotography.
Yeah.
And so once you look through the 6-inch, that's great, and then it's like, okay, all right, I need a bigger telescope. And I had a little bit of previous experience, and then just as I'm sort of coming back into astronomy after I built the 6-inch, knowing that like the 12-inch Newtonian is the sweet spot for visual astronomy of reflectors, for where it's large enough, the mirror's large enough that you can see the faint stuff, at least the stuff that's interesting to see, but it's small enough to still be practical to own and transport. Of course, a 20-inch telescope is going to be better, but it's not twice as good. But it's it's more than twice as big and heavy to transport. And I have everything is in my studio apartment on the second story, so I have to carry things down the stairs to load my car. There's no way I could get a 20-inch telescope in and out of here. So it's on
the lawn at Griffith, they have I don't know if it's an 18 or a 20.
Okay, yeah.
That they bring out every single time, and it goes up like fast. Like, I'm setting I've set my stuff, and by the time I'm done, they're already.
You can assemble them quick, for sure. Yeah. But you have to have like a wheelbarrow to move they weigh like 400 pounds or something. Yeah. So, what's up, Gold Public? How are you? Yeah, we have cats here today. I've got a cat on the lap. I don't know where Michael's cat went.
He's sitting down on the floor.
All right, we were having a cat battle earlier, but so I really like the 12.5-inch size.
Okay, and there was quite a bit of engineering involved in that one. I mean, you made it. Yeah. It was a go-to, or
yes, it's both. So you can push it around, or it's a go-to. So Yeah, there's a big challenge in that.
Yeah.
So now I didn't do the electronics.
Anything?
Are you familiar with OnStep?
No.
So there's an open source software called OnStep, which is telescope control software.
Oh, okay.
So as far as like the go-to functionality and like star catalog, slewing, and all the functions you need from a motorized telescope mount, like that's all there. It's open source software. Now configuring it and compiling it and putting it on the devices it's not as straightforward as like installing a program on Windows. It's kind of right at my threshold of what I'm capable of with like programming.
Compiling and it went right over me.
Yes. You have to compile it and then you have to flash it, and so you have to have the right libraries installed and drivers, and it's right on my threshold of what I'm capable of when it comes to electronics. But it's there.
And you did it.
I did it, yes, yeah, and I've done it a few times. So,
That's fantastic.
yeah, so that exists. Fortunately, if that didn't exist, then I wouldn't be able to do that. But I think the real challenge is having the dual functionality where you can push it around and have a good experience with it, or have it go to, because you have to have motors that can engage and disengage. So you have to have like some sort of clutch mechanism. And that was a really important functionality to me because for those, if you've ever seen like, when we travel to like the desert, you imagine driving 4 or 5 miles into the desert, to go to a dark site to do a night of astronomy or a weekend of astronomy. You drive all the way out there and to spend all night troubleshooting electronics in the dark, in the freezing cold. So it's like, you know what? Just turn the computer off and push the telescope around. I don't want to have to do that. Now with astrophotography, you have to do that. So you'll have to be doing some of that. But with visual astronomy, I mean, sometimes you do want it to slew around and go to. If you're doing like astronomy outreach stuff, like these star parties, then yeah, having the telescope track and just go to targets is like probably really important.
It makes it super fast.
Yeah. And but when you're just by yourself, and there's definitely a certain satisfaction and kind of joy you can get from being able to manually find these targets yourself too, and learning the night sky, knowing exactly where things are and where to point the telescope. And the guys that are really experienced at it, really good. One of my friends, Gary, he's he'll be like, oh, can I push your telescope around? Yeah. And he'll go, okay, Iris Nebula. And you're like, what? Oh, okay. He can just find him. I mean, I can look at the star charts and get there, but he's like, he just knows how to find this stuff. So
How to star hop.
yeah. So it's good to be able to do both. So that was one of the big engineering challenges with that. So
Fantastic. So that 12-inch led into what you're working on now? Or is...
I don't know if it really led into it, but I just, I think I just fell into the astrophotography rabbit hole again.
Okay.
And
that's a 6-inch?
4.5 inch.
4.5.
So the other telescope, it's 114 millimeter, which is about 4.5 inches. And I got inspired to work on that from our friend JB, who's in Ohio, on the Discord. When I first started streaming and doing a Discord, he posted a picture of his setup. I'm like, what's that little cool telescope? And he's like, oh yeah, I designed that. So I kind of stole the idea from him. He's like, yeah, you can get the mirror. And so it's like, the Hadley telescope's 114 millimeter diameter. And the Hadley telescope is the go-to place to start for DIY building a telescope visual astronomy. And so I'm like, what if we can create the equivalent of that, but for astrophotography? The Hadley telescope would be terrible for astrophotography. It uses a spherical mirror instead of parabolic, and it's f9. So yeah, that focal length and that focal ratio, and being such a small, lightweight, relatively flimsy thing, you know, it's great. It's super great for what it is, and I'm in no way going to talk down about that. But just like with a lot of things, you know, it's about the right tool for the job, and the Hadley would be really poor at long exposure imaging. Just like the 12.5-inch telescope the Dobsonian that I built, there's no point putting a camera on it. It's way too flimsy. It wouldn't be stiff and secure enough to do imaging. So yeah, I'm like, can we build the Hadley of telescopes and have a community around it, and you know, documentation and support. So it's a project people can take on and be successful with. So that's been the motivation there with that project. So and so far it's been going pretty good.
And that's your continuing current project, yes?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty ongoing. It's kind of at a stage right now where it's. I mean, there's a couple of things I could work on with it, but yeah, I mean, when you're an engineer and you look at your own projects, there's always so many things that can be better. And I think what it really needs is a little bit. It needs a bit different mirror. Right now, it's like f3.9. It really needs to be more like f4.5 or so. It needs a bit longer focal length. And I did find a mirror that was a little bit longer focal length. It's 450 millimeter focal length. I found one that's 500. I think that would be ideal. So I may swap out the mirror and make it just a little bit longer. And that has to do with some other constraints on coma corrector and focuser and stuff. The geometry there's a lot of balance going on in building a telescope. So you know, trade-offs and things. So yeah, ongoing project. Yeah, if I was going to work on something new with that, it would probably be a little bit longer focal length mirror.
So as an example, and the reason I asked that was because I've seen you working recently, even today, on the camera rotator.
Yeah, rotator. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, are you building? I mean, it doesn't appear, but this is my prepared question. Are you building holistically with everything kind of you have in mind that you're going to put all of this stuff together, or are you just building part by part? Because you built your focuser. I mean, you've built several iterations of a focuser.
Yeah.
And then, but does that change based upon the telescope that you were working on at the time, or do you have a grand plan?
There's no grand plan. Definitely no grand plan. It's just kind of like, what do I get inspired to work on today? Okay. And I did a poll on the Discord, like, what do you guys want to see me work on? And I just kind of listed some things that I could do, and camera rotator was high on the list. And I'm like, okay, let's see if we can build a camera rotator, because that's something that I don't personally really need, but for some in the community, they definitely could have more of a use for. I mean,
it's kind of in the zeitgeist, if you will, because EWO put a cheap one out. So.
Yeah, right, exactly. And their cheap one is $350, right, which, I mean, is cheap compared to others. Others are like, I think the other cheapest I've seen is like $500.
Right.
And I don't. But so I'm trying to see, can we build one for this? Will end up. So I'm using a bearing that's $10, and then you need some rings. So like maybe another $10. Oh, and this motor is like $15. So maybe like $30. Mm-hmm. So can we build one for like $30? Like that's pretty good, right? So
plus another $10 in plastic.
I was including that in my head estimate. In my head estimate, it depends on what you use, but yeah, actually, yeah, maybe that doesn't include the premium. You might need more premium materials for the stiffness. So we'll see how it works out. And no, Taka, I have never made custom PCBs. So have you made PCBs? Oh, was that your question?
No, it's further down the list.
Yeah, no, I've never made. Oh, was it really on your list?
It is.
Oh, okay. That's funny. You read your mind. No, I've never made. I'm not. I'm definitely not an electrical engineer type. So I wouldn't know where to begin with something like that. I would have no idea. So I know that that's possible these days. There's a lot of services like PCBWay.
Yeah.
If you've watched any YouTube video, any sort of maker YouTube video, this is sponsored by PCBWay. But yeah, you can get one-off PCBs made.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because I saw that you did so the camera focuser you're working on this rotator. I mean, these things are gonna be, your intention is for them to be as good as the commercial stuff, yes? But just you're spending.
well, no, I check expectations. I go for like, we're shooting for like that sweet spot of like, can we get 90% of the performance for 10% of the price?
Sure.
Right, not including your time, labor. Yeah, that's I from a DIY 3D printed camera focuser or camera rotator, for example, like we're working on right now. I don't think you're not going to want to hang a heavy camera, a big full frame or even maybe APS-C camera sensor with filter wheel, a heavy rig like that. Check your expectations, but we're doing budget stuff, and like the camera I have is really small and light, and really small lightweight cameras are becoming, there's a lot of them on the market now, and so there's definitely a use for these. But I'm definitely not going to say I'm going to try to compete with my designs that compete with something like ZWO. Now, if I was doing them right, and I was making machined, aluminum parts like those are, then yeah, totally, we could make one just as good, if not better. But it would cost more than $350.
Right.
So yes, but so I'm looking for like a project that people can actually make, and have it be usable, have it be good enough. And
are these accessories that you're ostensibly making? Are they are you glomming on to like ASCOM drivers and stuff like that, so that way they can be driven by Nina or SharpCap or whatever?
Yeah. So the focuser, the focus motor and the rotator are just stepper motors, and OnStep has built-in control for stepper motors for the mount for RA and deck axes, but it also has 2 additional channels for a rotator and a focus motor. So as far as controlling them, these will just connect right to the OnStep control board for my mount, the telescope mount. As far as making them functional, so like the thing with like a ZWO rotator or a ZWO focus motors, they're USB devices. So they still have stepper motors in there, but built inside the device is all the electronics to drive the stepper motor, which is like the stepper driver and stuff. And the cat is rather interested in stepper motor wires. No, don't eat that. Do not eat stepper motor wires. So yeah, inside those, they will have the custom PCBs with circuitry and logic to control the stepper motor, and then the USB device controller, and then they have to have Windows drivers, so when you plug it in, the USB drivers work, right? So I'm not doing any of that stuff. This just plugs into the OnStep control board. So you would have to be running an OnStep controller to use these devices. However, I believe there is somebody who has done the USB controller for a camera rotator. So that's maybe something that can, obviously it can be done, but this may have already been done, and there's just code you can copy. You'll need like an Arduino board, but you can run that USB. So if you're not running an OnStep, you're running like a commercial mount, like a CW or a Skywatcher mount or something, then you can do that. And do not eat that. That is not for eating. I'll start flashing it around.
If it's like anything like my cat, he's probably got 14 pounds of black PETG
and it's
test strips.
She's pretty good about this cat. She's a veteran. She's been around. She knows not to eat stuff generally. I would just flashing that in her face. So she doesn't chew power cables or anything like that anymore. So
last one I remember was from Christmas Vacation. The behind the tree one. Anyway, okay, so here was a great one. Are there any advantages or disadvantages to the 3D printing telescopes? I mean, we briefly spoke about this yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? I want to put this out there. What are the advantages, disadvantages to doing 3D printing for telescopes?
Well, the main advantage is you can do it. I think I mentioned this to you, and I've mentioned this to others. Is I don't think that 3D printing is necessarily a good way to build a telescope.
Mm-hmm.
But what it is a novel way to build a telescope where the only major tool you need is a 3D printer. So the best way to build a Dobsonian telescope is traditional woodworking techniques. Wood is an ideal material for a telescope, at least in that sort of Dobsonian class, size and scale. Wood is relatively inexpensive, relatively easy to work with, non-toxic, stuff like that. It's going to be strong and stiff for its weight, and so like traditional woodworking tools are like the best way to build an amateur telescope. But you need a wood shop to do that. You need, at the very least, you need a garage, and you need saws, and they make noise, and they're spraying sawdust everywhere. A 3D printed telescope, you could literally do that in your room right there because you have a 3D printer behind you. Yeah. So, with a few exceptions, like, I'm cutting carbon tubes and stuff, you'd probably want to do that outside or in a garage or something. But, so the only major tool you need is a 3D printer. And so a lot of 3D printers are ubiquitous these days. They're more affordable than ever. $300 will get you a really nice, a decent 3D printer these days. Maybe not really nice, but definitely capable 3D printer. Capable. And so you can do this stuff yourself. And so you can see all the projects that I've done. Most everything was done entirely with just a 3D printer. Now, there's some things that, you may need to outsource, like I have some machine components and stuff too, but right. Yeah. So, and just catching up with chat for a second there, Astrotaga says there's actually some ASCOM templates for rotators, etc. You made one from scratch for a flat panel. Yeah, so I've seen that, Taka. That's what I was referring to. That there is so it's not, hope is not lost. There is ways of doing that, and I'll be researching that in the next few days myself a little bit. And TMK says 3D printer also benefits no required any wood skill. Yeah, right. Woodworking. My woodworking skills suck. Like I mainly I don't have the right tools for it, but yeah, I don't have very good woodworking skills myself. So I'm
not a handy person.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Now 3D printing requires its own set of skills to be good at 3D printing. Although even that barrier to entry is coming down nowadays with the sort of current generation of printers.
Yeah.
So
and the CAD programs themselves, are becoming so much easier.
Yeah. So Yep. All that stuff is more accessible. Hey, what's up, APU? First time chatter on Twitch. Glad to have you here. He says, I don't know much about astronomy. Is there any upcoming events I should be excited about? Maybe something to look for in the sky. I don't know. Maybe Michael knows. Do you have any? I don't know if there's any like. I don't think we have any eclipses or anything.
No, we just had that partial over Iceland or wherever it was. I do know the coolest one for me personally. I'm a sun and moon guy. So we're currently at solar maximum, or either going into or coming out of. I'm not quite sure, but we're right in the middle of solar maximum, as it were. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on the sun.
Explain that solar maximum.
So solar
concept
maximum is the sun has a cycle of a lot of stuff happening and then nothing happening.
It's like an 11-year cycle.
An
or something,
11-year
right?
cycle.
Yeah.
Where there won't be any sunspots, there won't be any prominences or filaments or flares. They're all kind of the same word for different angles that you're looking at it.
Right.
But so we're having a lot of activity right now. So if you were to go to a star party, like I said, over at Griffith on Saturday, there will be people out there, and you will see prominences on the edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite likely, because it is fantastic.
There's a lot of stuff to see on the sun.
There's a lot of stuff to see the sun.
And it's changing. I mean, all the time. So, you look at it and then you walk away and come back an hour later and it looks different because we see these, we call them prominences, which are like ejections of, they're not solar flares. People will oftentimes use the term solar flare. That's a totally different phenomenon. But we call them prominences, which are just like arcs of plasma, which relative to the size of the sun, they're pretty small, but they're like the size of the Earth.
109 times larger than our planet. Underneath one of those arcs, and the only thing that's making those things is the magnetic fields that are looping on the sun, and so those loops are so large you can fit an entire Earth underneath one of the arcs.
We should look up some shots real quick. So do you have a solar do you have a solar scope?
I do. I use a Lunt 100, so I've taken pictures of
nice. Hey, what's up, APU?
Of the I took it to New Mexico for the eclipse, the annular eclipse.
Oh yeah, okay, right on. Yeah. So when you Google solar prominences, this is somewhat misleading. So this is definitely not what we're talking about. This is massive. That's like half the size of this. No.
Those are big.
This is like a solar prominence that we see here. These little, we say little, but this is like 2 times the diameter of the Earth, right? Easily. Yeah. So we can see we see these on the sun. My friend has an H alpha solar telescope, and what I think is really cool is so if you get with the hydrogen alpha solar telescope, you can see the Doppler effect, and I like to see that. It's cool. You can see that in real time. Yeah. So do you have an H alpha solar telescope? But you just said I didn't realize what it was.
I do.
So can you explain the Doppler shift that you can see on that?
So there's an etalon, which is a pressure chamber in between the lenses and the H alpha filter. And what that does is it allows you to tune basically forward to back, kind of like focusing. So you can focus effectively on the very face of the sun, or you can go back to the edge of the sun and then even go past it a little bit to dial in what you're looking at. It's kind of like a not an MRI, but what's the one for the
like a CAT scan?
I was thinking more like the ones for the babies, when they look at the babies in
ultrasound.
Ultrasound. It's kind of like an ultrasound where you're dialing in and out.
Yeah, right.
Over the sun.
So,
and it is fascinating to see it.
The way it's been explained to me is that, so the sun is rotating. Imagine this is a sphere. So the sun is rotating. So one side of the sun is moving towards us, the other side is moving away from us. And so we see that, you can actually see that Doppler shift. So thank you for the follow, Thermaestro of Nunn, New Zealand. I don't know if I got Thermaster of Nunn? Thermastro of Nunn. I don't know. People's names on Twitch, I struggle with reading them. Anyways, so the Doppler shift. So light that is coming towards us will be compressed, which means it will shift into the blue spectrum, and light that's going away from us gets stretched, so it'll be shifted towards the red color. So because the sun is rotating, the light that is coming towards us on one side of the sun will be a different wavelength than the light on the other side of the sun that's going away from us. So on the solar telescopes, that tuning that he's talking about, you have this little lever that you move back and forth. You can actually see that. You slide that in one direction and you see like one side of the sun's in focus, and then you slide it the other way, now you see the other side. It's not really the focus that's changed. I guess it is the focus that's changing, but because we're focusing on different wavelengths of light.
Right.
So, it's the same light. It's just that the light that's coming towards us gets compressed, and the light that's going away from us gets stretched, and that's Doppler shift, which is it's very cool to actually be able to see that with that phenomenon with your eyes.
Yeah, and that device is called an etalon.
Etalon.
E-A-T-O.
Etalon.
Etalon.
Etalon. That's a fun word.
Yeah.
That's a fun word.
And then there are double stacked etalons as well that allow you to do look at fine tune your telescope.
Yeah.
More. I only have a single, but you can buy
got it.
In a second.
You can just dump money into it, like everything in astronomy.
Like everything else.
And that name was the Master of None. We're just gonna go with Thermastro of None. the Master of None. What's up, brother? Thanks for. You need more underscores to separate the words in your name, or capital letters or something. Or just leave it like that so you get to be entertained by me struggling to say your name. Michael, I got to take a pee break. I don't know about you, sure, but I have the bladder of a 6-year-old squirrel, so I have to take pee breaks pretty frequently. So maybe go get a drink.
And I'll be here.
Cool. Yeah. So give me 60 seconds or so. And everybody who's watching, thanks for being here. I'll be right back. This is going great. I think this is awesome. This is cool. So. Yeah, we're talking fun stuff. Okay, I'll be right back. And, I've got parts finished on the printer. I can grab those. Okay, so I'll be back.
Many people feel small because they're small and the universe
What's
is big,
up, guys?
but I feel big
Them Astro F none.
because
yeah, I don't
atoms
think we want a
came from
bathroom
those
cam.
stars.
Yeah, exclamation point P. Bathroom cam. Yeah, we would definitely, there wouldn't be anything to see in there, or we would definitely need a powerful telescope in there. Small penis joke. So a couple of parts done printing. We can do this thing where I try to focus on these again. So this is the motor mount for the camera rotator. Printed this in polycarbonate. That part will be okay. And then this is here's the housing. I need to focus this way a little bit more. The housing, the front housing. So this part probably not the kind of stiffness that I want. I will probably want to reprint this also in polycarbonate. But it looks nice and will definitely work. Well, it looks mostly nice. I have a little bit of a layer shift, maybe like a warp related layer shift here. Kind of ugly. It'll work for the prototype. Should work for the prototype. So a couple of parts done. I think we want to get some more parts printing. Let me get the focus. Somebody should make a remote focus motor for my, I wonder if I could do that. Oh, I do. I know a guy that could do that. I'm a guy like me. All right, so we're still on with Michael Jackson here from the Los Angeles Astronomical Society. If you're just joining us, yeah. Michael is the editor of the. I'm on the wrong camera thing. There it is. There I am. The editor of the Bulletin, which is the Los Angeles Astronomical Society's newsletter. How long have you been doing that for? We mentioned how long you've been in the club, but how long have you been doing the Bulletin?
I only started. I've only put out 2 issues, so this is
okay.
The upcoming one will be my 3rd.
Yeah. Is it every month?
It is. It's once a month. So
Once a
it
month.
comes out on the 25th ish.
Yeah. Right on.
And, it's been a while where I just want to kind of. I was given the opportunity to do it, and the new president gave me the opportunity, and I'm running with it as hard as I can. So
Now, is it a fully volunteer gig?
it is all volunteer. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, but much like you, I'm between gigs, so
Oh, you've got time.
I got nothing
Okay.
but time. So.
Okay. Well, that actually brings up a question I forgot to discuss with you earlier before we started doing this. Is how much time do you have today? So I don't want to take up too much of your time
No, I got
either.
nothing
So
but time.
cool.
So,
Right on. Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah. So I don't know where we left off. Actually, I want to just give me one sec here. I don't know if I want to. Do I want to get another part printing? Yeah, we should. All right, we'll get another part printing. We're still on here with Michael. So tell us about your. Maybe we can have you talk in the background while I work on this. So tell us about your what printer are you using? Tell us about your 3D printing experiences and headaches and heartbreaks and.
Sure.
While I get this going.
I got into 3D printing only at Christmas. I got myself. I went big and I went home and I got myself a Creative K2.
Is that that's like the bigger one, right?
Yeah.
Because there was the K1. Yeah. So what's the build volume on that?
350 square.
350. Yeah.
So it's big.
Yeah.
And
Is that your first 3D printer?
it is.
Okay.
So I'm the 3rd or 4th generation of 3D printer users where I don't have to know nothing about nothing. I started out like I should, I started printing PLA and it was super easy and I'm not worried about a whole lot. I printed myself a Stormtrooper helmet like some people do for my kid and painted
That Stormtrooper helmet back there.
Yeah.
You printed that out? Right on. I've never done a helmet before. That's like a big commitment of a project.
It's, well, you know, it's just download the file. And like I said, I'm not particularly.
And that's in white PLA?
Yeah, it's white PLA.
Yeah, okay.
And I thought, you know, I was going to sit there and do 3D printing. And what I find, when I recognize and realize, especially with doing helmets and other things, props for my friend, a friend of mine, is that you learn how to sand. You're not necessarily learning. You're not learning 3D printing so much as you're learning how to sand.
You're doing the post-processing work on it.
Oh, the post-processing is a killer, but
PLA kind of sucks to sand. I'm sure what you've discovered, because it melts. The melting temperature is so low.
Yeah, but
and when you're sanding, you're creating friction, which gets it hot, and then it starts to gum up.
Well, yes and no. When you're sanding by hand, it's less of a problem.
Yeah,
but if you're doing a machine,
I'm way too. Yeah, I'm way too. I don't want to say lazy, but my time is way too important.
And as it should be.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I got into it because my kids are now semi-grown, and if I go and build costume pieces or something like that for cosplay, well,
okay,
you know, all right.
So have you done some of that, like cosplay stuff, other than the stormtrooper helmet?
Not
or that's what you're looking to do?
It is something that I looked into and I continue to look into. But like I said, the post-processing stuff, I'm now looking at PETG. I'm looking at other ABS and other.
When it comes to post-processing, sanding, ABS is like an absolute dream. Carving and sanding and working ABS is like, you'll really love that. I gotta go tend to the printer for 1 second. I'm just gonna pop up. You can continue talking, but I won't have the mic.
Sure. I'm a terrible host. Just dead air. I'm like Ed McMahon right now.
Sorry, that kind of put you on the spot. Yeah, you're right. Dead air. Yeah, that makes me I'm the terrible host. Yeah.
As I mentioned, that I'm a terrible Ed McMahon. So.
Ah, yes. Well, so we're gonna print the we're gonna print the gear, the large gear here for the camera rotator next. So this probably also will need to be printed in the carbon fiber polycarbonate because we want maximum stiffness. But we're gonna use this carbon fiber ABS because it's less expensive for prototyping. So,
I literally one of my questions that I had for you, was that you use a lot of carbon fiber laced plastic. Mm-hmm. Is that a stability thing or an aesthetic thing or?
Strength and print quality.
Okay.
Space is asking. Sorry, we'll defer to that in a second, but we got to get the we got to cater to the chat. And Space, he asks, what's your favorite planet / star to look at? His is the moon from his neighbor's house, which is my house. So what's your favorite planet? Well, you mentioned that you like the sun and the moon.
I'm a sun and the moon guy.
All right. What's third on the list then?
Jupiter.
Jupiter's fantastic. Yeah.
Jupiter and then Saturn.
Yeah.
I've got myself a what is it? An Ethos 6mm eyepiece.
Okay. Yeah.
And it is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
For my 100mm telescope.
Okay.
Because I get the Jupiter very well defined and just enough space to see the 4 moons from edge to edge.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's really exciting to, like I said, to for that outreach.
Yeah.
To share that with people because they have no idea what they're about to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, Jupiter is probably my favorite to view also.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jupiter's again, it's one of those objects that there's kind of always something new to see, and
well, it changes so quickly.
yeah, a Jovian day is 10 hours, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
I recorded a video, a time lapse of the spot transiting across.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was only out there for 4.5, 5 hours and got most all of it all the way across.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's fantastic.
Yep.
And the moons are tearing around that planet.
Yeah. They're moving fast.
How quickly they move around.
Yeah.
It's just stunning to think about it. How big that is.
Yeah. The amount of distance they're covering.
Earth,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
The planet itself is spinning around so fast.
Yeah.
And the moons are.
There's a lot of energy, a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah. A lot of radiation.
Yeah. You will get you will get super cancer if you go to Jupiter.
Well, the hope is to see what is it, Clipper?
Europa Clipper mission, yeah. Yep.
I think they're hoping that to see if they can confirm that there's an ocean under the Europa.
Right.
And if so, is that ice thick enough to potentially protect whatever underneath that ice from the
radiation. Yeah. So water is a very good blocker of radiation. Yeah. So we're talking about the Europa Clipper mission, guys. I got some pictures on just Google image search here. This is a spacecraft which just launched. Was it last fall or December or something like that? It very recently launched.
Very recently.
Now it's going to take, I don't know, 5 or 6 years to get there.
Something like that.
Because space is big. It takes a long distance, long ways. And so this has all kinds of instruments it's going to orbit and do flybys of Europa, which is one of Jupiter's moons. And we're almost certain, was certain enough to spend, I don't know how many billions or millions of dollars on this spacecraft to go, look, we're certain enough that Jupiter is covered in, basically there's a subsurface ocean. There's like a layer of ice, a thick layer of ice, like
14 miles.
14 miles thick. Yeah. Okay. Big, thick layer of ice. And then underneath that, liquid water. Like we're like almost certain there's liquid water underneath that. And where there's liquid water on Earth, there's life. Like pretty much everywhere on Earth where there's liquid water, there's life. And we know there's geothermal activity because of tidal effects, the body being squeezed because of the gravity of Jupiter. So, and then there's massive radiation, but there's this big ocean and ice shelf that could block the radiation. So, if there's a place where life could exist in our solar system outside of the planet, Europa is a prime candidate. So this spacecraft will not land. It will not be able to take pictures of European whales or European sea squids. But I don't know. It'll be able to do a lot of science that I don't understand. So that's coming up here. So I don't know when we're gonna get data back from that, but
I thought it was supposed to be like 8 or 9 years because it's taken to secure this route.
Yeah.
Sunshine around.
Yeah.
Venus or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah. It's gonna do gravity assist, so it'll take longer to get there. So it's gonna be a while before we have data on that, but definitely something to look forward to.
Very much so.
Yeah. You were asking me about carbon fiber materials for 3D printing.
I was. Just as far as stability, aesthetic.
So the fiber-filled FDM 3D printer filaments, whether they're fiberglass or carbon fiber, are stronger and stiffer typically than their non-filled counterparts. But a carbon fiber 3D printed plastic part, Okay, this is carbon fiber ABS. It's not anywhere near as strong as a proper traditional carbon fiber laminate, because those will use continuous strands of continuous fiber, sometimes woven, sometimes not woven, but the fibers run either all the way around or throughout the part. So the 3D printer filaments use little bits of chopped fiber, and the bits are like 1 to 2 millimeters long or something like that. And also there's significantly less carbon fiber in here than there would be in a normal carbon fiber composite laminate. So
is it more brittle, or is it flexible?
I think some materials, maybe it can make it more brittle or can affect the layer adhesion. In my experience, that's not really the case. You'd have to do some quantitative testing, to determine that, which you could do. But so it does make it a little bit stronger. It's a bit stronger, but it gives you it's aesthetically pleasing, because the texture in the texture that the carbon fiber gives tends to hide the layer lines and masks little imperfections that you get in the prints. So these prints can tend to look really nice. So that's a good bonus. But I think the biggest, most overlooked feature is that they are generally improves the printability, especially of more high-end materials that are prone to warping. So like ABS is prone to warping. The fibers in the filament give the filament a little bit of stiffness, a little bit of structure, which greatly helps reduce warping. That's definitely the case for polycarbonate. So, and I know that because this material that 3DX Tech makes, they call it EasyPC. It's their custom blend of polycarbonate that makes it easier to print. So you can buy this stuff with and without carbon fiber filament in it. And the stuff with carbon fiber filament, I mean, it can warp, but like it mostly prints really great. The stuff without the carbon fiber filament, much more prone to warping, much more difficult to control the warping. So the dimensional stability of the part during printing is enhanced by having the carbon fiber in the filaments. So it's a couple of reasons to use them. Yeah, so that's an often overlooked aspect of using those materials that I don't hear discussed very often. So.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. Since what was it? Astrotaka took my
yeah.
PCB question. Where do you end up sourcing your mirrors and parts from? Or is it just wherever catch can?
Kind of just wherever you can. The mirrors for my 12.5-inch Dobsonian telescope, I found those used on the Cloudy Nights forums. I believe they were from a Hubble Optics telescope. Like Hubble Optics made the mirrors, and they were recoded recently. So I don't know how old the mirrors are, but I found those used. GSO, I think they're a Taiwanese company, makes mirrors, and you can buy mirrors. Agena Astro stocks them, so you can buy mirrors from them. Either that or eBay and AliExpress. You can buy Chinese-made mirrors. The spherical mirror in the Hadley telescope, those you can get on Amazon, but they're mass-produced in China, but they're fine. And then the mirrors in the DBS 114, the astrograph that I designed and built, those are sourced from AliExpress. So they're Chinese-made mirrors. So I have no idea like what really. I mean, I know there's objective ways of, measuring the mirror's performance, and I don't know how to do that. I know I could look that up, but maybe we need to go to some mirror making classes at with the club there.
National Design.
Yeah.
I know that they are one of the interesting things that they're doing is that they will be measuring with what they call a knife's edge, something or other, to check the sphericalness of their mirrors.
Yeah.
So, I haven't yet learned about it. But
I've seen that, like that process, those processes. I sort of recognize them when I see them, but I don't really know what you're looking for or how to do them. Yeah, I know knife edge is you shine a light along a knife's edge so you get the light to diffract, and then you're looking at the reflection of the diffraction or something like that. And it makes a pattern on the mirror so you can use that to measure its shape and so
make it adjust accordingly.
Yeah. Something like that.
And then the rest of your electronics and bearings and stuff, you just wherever you end up
I like to
finding.
get them from Amazon if I can, because Amazon's 2-day free shipping, or 1 day. Hopefully it's 1 day or same day. If not Amazon, some stuff from AliExpress, parts from AliExpress from China. But I try to source when I'm designing things. I'll if I know I need a bearing, especially if it's something that it's going to be like a open source community project. I want these parts to be accessible, sourceable. So that will be. I'll try to source something from Amazon if I can, because then I know other people can get it too, right? So, if the project relies on some obscure part that people can't get, then it's not a very good project for other people to do. So
Right.
yeah. But
Okay.
I have other sources for various other sources like MasterCard for hardware, if need be. So
Okay. And then I'm actually almost out of questions,
okay,
but we can still continue chatting.
Yeah.
So you've been building all this stuff for some period of time now. A couple years,
yeah,
your telescope work. And I saw that you also did your own bicycle,
yep,
a frame.
yep.
Given enough time, and hopefully, I'm not wishing it on you, but without a gig, what do you hope to design in the future? What are you looking to build? What is it? I know that you're putting questions to your viewership and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Gosh, I don't know. I kind of tend to hyper focus on a project, and then once that project is finished, like the telescope, most recent telescope, then I enter this sort of like fuzzy gray area period where I'm kind of meandering. Like, what do I do? What am I working on? What do I want to do? So yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, actually, no. Well, okay. So we've been discussing on the stream and on the Discord, and we're sort of exploring if this is even possible. It's certainly not possible for me by myself, but the idea is can we build a telescope mount that uses direct drive servo motors instead of stepper motors?
Oh, I saw that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess, what would I like to build? I would like to build that. I don't know if it's possible, or if it's possible within a budget. I mean, if money was no concern, then yeah, let's do it. But,
The maker community doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of money either.
Yeah, and it depends on like if we can actually source the electronics, the parts that we need. Like if these are available on the market, for reasonable prices.
Right.
I guess if it was like an open source project, it wouldn't be very good if you had to have two $2,500 encoders, because there's a $5,000 just in those parts to build this thing.
Right.
That nobody's gonna. That's not worthwhile, because you can buy a telescope mount for $2,000 that performs, good. So,
Right.
yeah. But I would like to. Yeah, that would be like I'd need like a software engineer to work with that can tell me why this is gonna not work, and or to do the software side of things that I can't do on that, because that would definitely require some custom software.
Right.
To be written. So I don't know if it's possible. I think it would be really cool if we could make it work. So yeah, I don't know. People have done it. It has been done. It's done on the high end. the plane wave telescope mounts use direct drive servo motors. There's at least 2 YouTube videos of people that have made these. So it can be done, but can it be done, for a reasonable cost and actually work and perform?
Right.
So those are the known unknowns of the project. So yeah, definitely still in the research phase on that. So who knows what'll happen with that. So I'm thinking that it's probably not. It's definitely not doable for me by myself. I'm thinking it's probably not doable for the community on a reasonable budget.
Well, I mean, you've set up a decent community here.
Yeah.
With, so I imagine that somebody eventually will reach out, or
yes,
present themselves as an opportunity for you.
Yeah.
Not me. I don't know anything about any of that shit. But.
Dave liked big challenges. I do like big challenges, John Klopp. You're right about that. Yeah. What I say, like the deal breaker of the project, I think, is that the hardware required to make it work is not feasible. Basically, the encoder. You need an encoder. You need an extremely high resolution encoder, and the commercial solutions that are available are in the multiple thousands of dollars ranges, heavy industrial equipment type of stuff. There was some chatter about maybe some other encoders that might work that are affordable that maybe you can get, but whether or not those will actually work, I don't know. I don't know how to define the requirements. I don't really know what the requirements are. I need a software guy to talk to and work out these things.
Right.
And then can we get the motors? So, are motors available, or would we have to build custom motors? Right. So, yeah, I don't know. So, yeah. So I guess that's kind of maybe the long shot project that I would like to work on.
That's at least,
yeah. So, yeah, that's what I can think of.
Okay. Well, that's about what I've got.
Cool.
I guess the only thing for me to really kind of throw out there is that, consider, having your viewership, if they're local to Los Angeles, to reach out to the Los Angeles Astronomical Society and see if there's any events that are of interest, and come on out to the Star Party on Thursday, and we've got one coming on Saturday. Think about joining. The website is LAAS.org, and
it's not unreasonable cost to join either, right?
No.
It's not. Is it $40 a year?
It's something akin to that, yeah. It's not super expensive.
I thought I looked into this. There's membership tiers. Regular adult membership $40 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a family plan. If you're senior, if you're a student. After 1 year, after 1 year of membership, you do get access to the Dark Sky site out in Lockwood Valley. You get so that way you can go out there.
Yeah.
But
let me see if I can get. Yeah, let me see if I can get you on there and the club website here in the same. Yeah, the same. Yeah, so oh God, don't do that. Oh, that's kind of yeah, so LAAS membership. Yeah, astronomy outreach programs. Yeah.
And then that picture right above the Mount Wilson is that's the Lockwood Valley site.
Yeah, you're looking at the delay.
Yeah, I'm looking delayed.
You're watching delayed, but talking to me in real time. So that's. Oh, okay. With the round concrete pads here.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. That's a cool telescope he's got there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of really cool stuff out there.
And then that's the 60-inch telescope at Mount Wilson. I was signed up to go up to Mount Wilson last weekend to give a session on the 60-inch, and but there was weather. It was
Oh,
clouds, so we that got canceled. And
yeah.
then
There's they as a member, you have I don't know what the cost difference is between what you would have as a non-member versus, but we have a special connection with them and have
okay, yeah,
for 99 years.
right,
So,
yeah, yeah, that's cool.
yeah. And then yeah, that's what I got.
Our friend Mithridates Astro asked, "Are there any significant events happening in California within the astronomy community?"
I wish I knew outside of the club. I mean, I uh I don't know. I know that for me personally, I'm in the San Fernando Valley, so I just recently found another sidewalk astronomy club in Burbank.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and they go out. They go out to they go out to like Bob's Big Boy and set up on. I think I'm doing that on Friday night.
Okay,
And
yeah.
they do a couple of other events. So, but I haven't ever talked with them. I just saw their website. I think they have a Facebook.
Okay.
Um, but events wise, I'm not super tuned in outside of my personal scope of
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. He says, i.e., regional star parties, etc. So.
Yeah.
Um.
And
Yeah.
as far as outreach goes, you can literally go to any sidewalk
Yeah.
anywhere if you have a telescope and set it up, and people will come by.
Yeah.
Because they can't stop you from putting your telescope up. And even though I did it a couple weeks ago, where I went out and I set up in front of Bob's Big Boy just by myself, and that's how I found out about this other group.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just set it up, and I told the manager, I said, "Hey, is it okay if I set up?
Yeah.
No, it's public property.
Yeah.
You can't, I can't stop you."
Right. Right.
I'm all,
I mean, if it was private property, then they could definitely say,
then they
yeah,
could,
yeah,
then they
right.
could, but
Yeah.
the thing is that I wasn't being a burden to them.
Sure.
I was
Yeah.
value
yeah.
added to their
Yeah.
Friday night car show or whatever it was. But the thing about outreach in astronomy is that just being on a sidewalk where there's foot traffic or something like that, and that's difficult in Los Angeles sometimes anyway.
Yeah.
But if you can find that, I was underneath this gigantic neon sign
Yeah.
advertising this restaurant and all the interior lights, but I was also sharing Jupiter. I was sharing
Yeah.
to that is unencumbered. I mean, you could see better if I wasn't next to that. I could see fainter objects.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
But
honestly, for like outreach stuff, like, I mean, the general public probably not going to be too impressed by that. Anyways, like, oh, look at this faint little gray smudge that you can barely see. Like, that's a galaxy. I mean, that's amazing, but that's not going to take people's breath away. Jupiter and Saturn, the moon.
And the craters on the moon.
Yeah, that takes people's breath away.
Amazing.
Yeah, totally.
They're so amazing.
Yeah. Now we are running into at least seasonal. We're losing the planets. We still have Jupiter after sunset, but only for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But we've lost Saturn, and Mars is rapidly racing away from us. I don't know how much of Mars we can see right now, other than maybe it's just a little red blob, depending on.
It's a very little red blob.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It's on the other side, so.
Yeah.
The other side of its orbit.
Right.
So it's very small.
Yeah.
And then
it still looks red in the sky. So
it is very red, but when I look at it through mine and even through one of the other fellas, he's got an 11. It's just a little red dot.
Yeah.
Whereas a couple months ago, you could see the polar ice cap.
Oh yeah. No, I was looking at that from my balcony here, so that was pretty great. Yeah. So we'll have a couple years before Mars comes back, but so the planet's, very seasonal, but I've kind of thought about that too, like around here, where I'm at, if like, doing like a sidewalk astronomy outreach night or something, and, finding a place with foot traffic and stuff.
And that's the key. That's
yeah,
the key.
yeah. You know, so there's a lot of like the trendy thing these days is like the outdoor shopping mall things in SoCal. The like, you know, it's basically a mall, but it's outdoors. So it's like fake Main Street or whatever. But like, so
like
that's a
3rd
lot
Street
of
promenade down in Santa Monica or something.
yeah. So that's like a lot of foot traffic. I mean, so shopping areas like that are definitely gonna be private property. But you know, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. You know, maybe you could just set up and they wouldn't care. You know, I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe that would be a fun thing to do, an IRL live stream too. Actually, that's a streaming thing. I don't know if you've ever seen IRL live streams. That's in real life live streams. Somebody in like with their phone walking around outside.
Yeah.
There's a dude that does that streams. He's a musician, and he's got like a computer in a backpack, and he's got like with a neck harness like a keyboard and like all his like DJ tools, and he's just like walking around. He's got like a selfie cam, and he's live streaming on Twitch, and he's just like walking around like downtown Austin, Texas or New York City, and he's just like making beats and just like walking around and talking to people. And then like he's just like making beats, and like here's a random guy that just like starts rapping, you know, and stuff like that. So the IRL streams.
I've seen something like that on Instagram. Maybe.
Yeah. So like maybe some like IRL live stream outreach would be a way to kind of sort of bridge the sort of like old school, new school kind of stuff, and you know, internet versus, you know, I don't know, stuff like that. So. Mithridates. He's been looking to set up a star party at the museum he volunteers at. Yeah. So he's down in Vista. He's our friend Mithridates Astro. He's down in Vista, and he volunteers at this train museum. They have like a big property, and so he says he's been. Yeah, he was gonna do like a star party, set up his telescope out there. I don't know, a month ago, but there was weather, of course, so. That didn't happen, but maybe a little bit darker actually out there where he's setting up too. But
this is
yeah, it's a little bit.
I grew up in San Diego. So.
Oh, okay, right on, yeah.
It'd be a
Antique Gas and Steam Engine Museum, yeah. So, So I've been thinking about ways of doing kind of stuff like that, and that could be a lot of fun. So I'll have to continue to kind of brainstorm on that. And maybe we need like a outreach Discord chat session or something.
Yeah. Or let me throw this out there, just join up with the Los Angeles Astronomical Society.
Well, yes, I'm close enough, and I've been considering that, like, because I'm close enough to LA that it for me it makes sense.
You're a little further inland, so.
Yeah, Mithridates is in San Diego, so you know, yeah. And what's up, Sean Wolford? How are you? Yes, he is your neighbor. I think there's a Riverside Club, and that would be closer to me, I think, than LA. Definitely traffic-wise, that's closer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, kind of where I'm at here in Chino Hills.
It's a bit of a haul. I get it.
Well, it's not. It's the traffic. It's, you know. Yeah. So, and I mean, weekends, not that big of a deal, and in the evenings, going to LA in the evening is not that big of a deal either. So, yeah, no, I definitely want to check out, be more involved with the LA club. I think it's just really cool what, being involved with the Griffith Observatory, because I love Southern California. I love, California culture and landmarks and stuff. And the fact that an observatory, an astronomy thing is an LA landmark, like going out and setting up my telescope at the LA observatory, at the Griffith Observatory would be like, I mean, it's like the worst place for astronomy because of light pollution, but it's such an iconic place that it's like, I would love to do that, so.
To that point, kind of what you were mentioning before with regards to, not looking at the faintest thing in the sky. Yeah, it's terrible for that.
Yeah.
But for showing the cool stuff, You know, if
Yeah.
you show, you know, was it not the Pleiades, but one of the other clusters, to the mixing it up, because a lot of us end up looking at the same sorts of objects depending
Yeah.
upon the season. Like as you
Right.
point out, we're losing the planets.
Yeah.
And the only thing that a lot of us are going to be looking at is the moon. But you know, if there's some nice globular clusters and things like that,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
to
Yeah.
mix that up,
Right.
you know, a larger aperture device will be fantastic for that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole thing. But do note that you have to come out on that event, that Star Party event. Instead of you can't just go out and set up on the lawn.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know that. It's like the members do that, and I definitely would want to just sort of like get the vibe, you know, and see like, because if you're bringing your equipment out to a public thing, there's going to be like risk of damage to your equipment and stuff, and like, you know, do I really want to, you know, and
There's that fear.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
fear
yeah.
exists.
So,
But I will say that it has, like, I went out the first time, just, I don't know, it was last summer. Like I've only been doing it for, I don't know, the better part of a year,
yeah,
but not a full year yet. And I went out and I was like, oh, this is so darn cool. And then the next month I brought my stuff out, and I brought way too much stuff.
yeah,
And yeah, that fear exists.
yeah.
But what it's done is that it's given me, kind of like you've probably experienced going out to the desert, I've really pared my stuff down to the barest of essentials.
I'm at the opposite right now, where I'm building up and I'm bringing way too much shit. But in a couple of months, yeah, it'll be pared back down again. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Zach, thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, our friend Zach just showed up in the chat here. He's also one of our guys down in San Diego. And yeah. Maybe it would be. I don't know if it would be cool to like, kind of not. So like if I brought my like 3D printed telescopes out there, it would be kind of like a 2-part outreach thing. It's like astronomy, but also building telescopes outreach to like, look, you could build these telescopes. So I need some like 3D
as a
printed.
novelty, that's fantastic.
I need some like 3D printed signs like yours to be like, because like there's going to be somebody out there with a bigger. There's always going to be a bigger telescope, right? There's going to be somebody out there with a much more impressive telescope than I'm going to have. But it's like, look, these ones you can build yourself.
Yeah.
And so having like some signage about that, and like, you know, QR codes linked to the projects or something like that.
QR codes, that's fantastic. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. QR codes. We're living in the future. We can do QR codes now. So
I need to write that down.
you can 3D print them too.
Oh yeah, huh.
A little bit trickier, but
I need to put that on my little thing.
yeah. Scan QR code, link you to the thing. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that would you know, be kind of more worthwhile, you know, personally for me too. So it's not just, you know, so maybe I'm getting a little bit something out of it. You know, give and take, right? Give some good, you know,
That's
get
exactly
some.
what it is.
But yeah. Yes, we are spoiled in the dark sky in the desert, Myth. Yeah. Yep. So,
Yeah, you are.
although it's a long ways to go. Do you ever go out to the dark skies? I mean, you mentioned like Lockwood Valley and stuff. Have you ever been any other like really dark places, or?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
We'll
We'll have to get you out to Grandview this summer.
That'd be really cool. Is it cold?
In the summertime, it's chilly
Okay.
up there. 50s, maybe low 50s at night.
Okay.
So,
Fine.
yeah, it's definitely doable.
That'd be really cool to go experience it.
It's from the astronomers that I know. Of course, we're biased because we go up there. It's
Sure.
the best. It's the best place. It's the best combination of dark skies and altitude, where you're above the the haze and stuff, and
Where is
just
that in relation to Joshua Tree? Because I know that
north,
Joshua Tree is one of the-
quite a bit north of Joshua Tree. I'll bring up the map here.
I'll see in a minute.
Yeah, so you'll get the delayed view of the map. Oops. Hold on. I gotta rearrange some windows here so we can keep Michael's face on there, and Yeah. So Joshua Tree down here, and so we're talking about the Owens Valley up north, kind of just straight north of LA, and you kind of go up to Big Pine, and you go up Big Pine up Highway 168, and then you turn left on a White Mountain Road, and it's in here, Grandview Campground.
Okay.
So if I bring up the satellite view, you can see it's like this loop. There's like a valley, not a valley, a meadow, like a meadow, and so the campgrounds are. So it's the best combination of, dark sky, altitudes, you're kind of above the haze, and during the daytime, it's also absolutely beautiful there. The Owens Valley, the mountains, and the views there. It's my favorite place in the world for sure. Granted, I haven't been all that many places in the world, but it's definitely it's definitely the place. It's definitely the place to be. So it's a long drive, but it's definitely worth it. So yeah. So I think May is probably our first time that we'll be able to get out there. So
there was a thing the other day where they were gonna do the dark sky, and there's gonna be a dark sky night, and then they put up a picture from the live cam that they've got, and it was just all covered in snow, and they're like, we're not doing it.
They don't. Yeah, you wouldn't want to go up there in the wintertime. If there's snow, they don't plow the roads, and it would be very, very cold. So, Myth says, can't wait for Milky Way season, the dark sky sites. Yeah, the Milky Way is as bright as I've seen it anywhere is at Grandview. So,
wow.
Yeah. So, it's called Grandview for a reason. So, that's our favorite place. So, yep.
All right. Well, I'm all good.
Good. 7-hour drive for you, huh, Myth? Yeah, that gets to be a bit more. Yeah. We do have a guy that comes from Rich comes from San Diego, but he tends to go for like a week at a time, week or 10 days. But he's kind of glamping. He's got the trailer with the microwave and refrigerator and stuff. So, yeah. But
as long as you can do your burritos, that's fine.
Yeah, for sure. So, I don't know if I have anything else. But I guess maybe we ought to just. Actually, it's getting to be close to supper time, so maybe we ought to just wrap this one up.
Sure.
Thanks for being here, Michael. This was a lot of fun.
It really has been for me as well.
Yeah. We should. I'm definitely going to try to explore this idea more of, first of all, just joining the LA Astronomical Society and, hanging out and going to Garvey. I keep wanting to say Gravy, but it's Garvey. The R and the V get switched. Garvey Park. Yeah, come out to Garvey Park more. Let me know if you're going to be out there next Wednesday. And then maybe I'll usually Wednesdays are no good for me, but I don't know. Maybe I can shift the schedule around a little bit, and maybe I can.
That, or I'm also without work, so I can drive out there and catch a beer or something.
Well, I would want to I would want to be there for the the club night, and
sure.
So everybody. So and then so Saturday for sure. I'm going to go to the Griffith Observatory Saturday, but you won't be there, so that's cool. Thursday nights, there's the Silver Lake Star Party. Mm-hmm. So that I might be able to do, not regularly, but definitely should come out one night, I suppose. And but then also the idea of doing like IRL live stream Star Party, like at the Silver Lake Star Party, might be super cool because there's so many people out and it's a vibe and there's music and stuff.
Yeah,
I'd have to figure all that out and.
It's a whole technical challenge.
Yeah, because you have to be like using cell network, and then like unless there's Wi-Fi there, and then I don't know. Microphones and sound and camera and stuff. And
I do know that I know that the cell reception at the top at Griffith sucks. And, people have tried it, and it's been difficult for them.
Yeah, I wonder if 5G, now that 5G is a thing, because there's got to be line of sight, because you're up there, but I don't know if...
I mean, there's all those cell towers on Hollywood. You would think that we're looking right at it.
Yeah, they're not, they're going over, the signal's going over or something. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have T-Mobile, which is going to be terrible reception. There's a lot of blackout spots, so... Hey, Alex, how's it going? So, yeah. So we'll have to keep thinking about that. I'm super into that, those ideas, and see what we can do. So, and we've got more cat time.
Action. Cat on cat action.
All right. Well, I think we ought to wrap this one up, and thank you for being here. And I think we'll end this stream. We've got a decent amount of viewers here, because there's somebody that we should raid. Let's see. Well, we could raid Paleontologizing again. I think we raided him the other day. Oh, Nerdwino is on. Oh, cool. Yeah, no, perfect. We'll raid. So one of the cool features, I mentioned how Twitch is awesome for streaming. One of the cool features that Twitch has is called a raid, and what that does is at the end of your stream, you take all your viewers and you push them to another stream. So you raid another stream with your viewers. So it's always fun to do. Raids, and so Nerdwino is on, and he's a streamer, and he's also he's in LA. I think actually more like Pasadena area, but he's a former NASA scientist, and so he does science and astronomy based streams, and so he's on right now and he's streaming. So I don't know if he's involved in the LA Astronomical Society, but maybe we should find out, and then we can pressure him into also joining, right, and going out. He'll do live astronomy streams. He's got an observatory, the roof that he can roll off and stuff. So, So if you're watching on YouTube, you don't get to participate in the raid, unfortunately. But our friends that are on Twitch will get to participate in the raid. So we will do that. We'll raid Nerdwino. We'll say goodnight to the cats, and we'll say goodnight to you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you liked it. Let me know in the Discord. Join the Discord if you're not already. If you like this kind of stuff, this has been a lot of fun for me. And we've talked about maybe having some other guests on, like my friend Dan, that's a telescope builder, a very experienced telescope builder. So, maybe we'll try to do more stuff like this. I think we've got it kind of the technical side worked out. So, and then we've got cats. So, Perfect. So, okay, we're gonna raid. Let me get the raid started here. We're gonna raid Nerdwino. All right, Michael, I'm gonna hang up on you.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. We'll be in touch. And all right. Let me know if you need anything else in regards to the article, and you need me to send pictures and stuff probably, or something.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. You can Discord me or email me, whichever is cool. Okay?
We'll do.
All right.
Talk soon.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Leave meeting. Okay. There we go. Okay. Well, that was Michael. I hope you guys dug that. And we're going to end, and we're going to go stick around for the raid.
Second one, what? Oh, why did the NASA engineer fail at Twitch? Because they're great at launching rockets, but can't figure out how to launch a stream without crashing it.
Please clear the landing pad. Raid incoming.
Don does math. Don does math. How you doing? JNC Central, thank you for the follow. Don does math. Raiders, welcome in. Good to see you. How are you doing? How was your stream? Math, you have to run. It's okay. It's okay. You'll be fine. It's not
just got rated by another channel, so we're kind of waiting.
Should come join us.
I'm gonna wait just a minute. He just got rated by another channel.
You should mention that to them. They might like to do a live stream of that or something. Raiders, welcome in. How was your stream, Don?
All right, okay.
Hey, I just read about the golden rule today, and there it is as a rule. Doing good. We had some pretty difficult questions today with number theory and another one with optimization. Aha. How's it? It's going. Oh my goodness.